Hey everyone, welcome to the Sitch Show. This week we're going to look at how to actually reintegrate society now that we've been locked up for so long. I know some of you have social anxiety. We're going to look at future foods and also is the vaccine passport everything somebody wants or how do you feel about it? See you on the Sitch Show in a couple of seconds with Ashley Mathieu and Matthew Stapley.
Hello.
Hey Matt, how are you?
Good. Your microphone was working perfectly when we were in the backstage area, and now that we're live, it hates you again.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there.
You put me
It's
on
good.
mute.
It's
Is it
working.
okay now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
Amazing. How are you?
Send me some loving.
I'm doing
So
good. How about you?
good. Apparently, Ashley is hauling tools around and talking about tennis. So she'll be running a few minutes late, she said. I guess there's some kind of U-Haul emergency or lesbian federation meeting or something like that, where they learn different types of plaid
I
and
don't
how to
even know what plaid means.
plaid. Plaid is I don't have any around me because no, but plaid is it's a pattern. It's a pattern.
The what?
So it's like a material pattern. It's like Scottish
Ah,
kilts and stuff like that. That's
yes.
plaid. So you see that in like Scottish things, and then you see that in wonderful, amazing people like Ashley. And that's about it. Um, just kidding. So she will be joining us when she arrives home from
That's
the
perfect. I know
plaid
she's on
convention.
her way, so that's perfect. So how you been doing?
Not too bad, actually. It's been like a crazy day. It's been back to back. My bird is losing his shit, as you may be able to hear. Uh, but no, good other than that. How about you?
Good. We thought we lost ours this week because I let run all over the house.
Oh,
Well, fly, not run, but and we couldn't find it anymore.
oh
So the next
no.
they're like, so we almost had a little funeral without being there. And then I said, well, it'll come back probably tomorrow. So it did came back. So now we're a bit more cautious. I knew it didn't go outside, but the fact that we couldn't find it was a bit
Oh,
troubling.
Ashley has arrived.
Perfect.
Here she comes. And go. Hey Ash,
Hey,
Uh
you
huh.
made it.
how was your lesbian plaid U-Haul tool convention?
It was fantastic.
Excellent. Did you learn how to hate Martha Stewart again?
Yeah.
Oh my
Perfect.
lord.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. What are we talking about? What are we doing?
Is it the food you didn't like from Martha Stewart, or her arrangements, or
we
yeah?
were joking around about what you were doing, and I said that you were at some kind of like U-Haul tool plaid wearing convention where you learn how to undecorate things.
You were frozen. Yeah.
So we thought of the topics for this week. They were talking about this week about passport vaccines. And I know this morning you talked about, air traveling and Air Canada and Caribbean cruises and stuff. So let's just see what people are thinking about it already. What do you think about the vaccine passport?
I think it's stupid.
Why?
What? Well, let me tell you, LA. I
I'm
think
listening.
that I think it's dumb because when have we ever in history needed a vaccine passport to get on a flight? We have polio, we have the flu, we have all of these things, yet I have never in 36 years been restricted to travel
Yeah.
based on a vaccine. So why all of a sudden with a um, virus that has a 99 point something success rate do we all of a sudden need to have a vaccine passport with COVID-19 on there?
Yeah, it is. It is so wrong on like a lot of levels because so if countries start implementing a vaccine passport, like we've accepted in Canada and probably most of North America that not everyone can receive a vaccine for multiple reasons. Now, other countries may not give a shit about that, and so they may say, no, you can't come here. You don't have this vaccine. Doesn't matter why you don't have it, but you don't have it. I think it's moving into a serious issue of equity and equality, and also there's an element of that of like being, I don't know how to say it. Yeah, forget that part.
Judged,
But
shamed.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank you for being your usual alien self and pulling it out of my brain. But yeah, exactly. I think it could create more problems than what it would fix.
Yeah.
Big time.
What I'm
Yeah,
thinking, if somebody doesn't want the vaccine or is not getting it, does that mean you can't fly anywhere? I
Yeah.
mean, it's pretty hard to go to Punta Cana by car.
right. I mean, but that's the thing though, is like, where are we going to draw the line? Because like we have countries or people speculating about this vaccine passport, which again, I'll say is utter bullshit. I don't think we should have it. We've never had anything like that before, and we've had way worse pandemics than COVID-19. Now we can fight about that all day, but it's true.
Yeah.
We have a ton of people getting the virus and 99% of people beating the virus. So to tell people you can only come to this country or get on this aircraft or train or whatever with a vaccine passport showing you've had this specific vaccine, I think is horse shit. And also, like, why aren't we looking at epigenetics when it comes to vaccines? Because there's a ton of kids or individuals, even adults, being damaged by vaccines because unfortunately, based on their DNA, they did not react well to the vaccine. So why before making it a like a passport to travel anywhere, why are we not now taking the steps to look at epigenetics and vaccines so that if someone has this type of gene or DNA, and we know that this DNA is not going to do well with this A, B, or C vaccine, then they get an exemption.
Yeah, and there's a lot of reasons why somebody, might not be able to take a vaccine. Sometimes it's, like if they have really big issues with inflammation or they get anaphylaxis because a peanut is cracked down the street. Like, there's a lot of reasons why, like, some people are just very sensitive to anything like foreign or unusual entering their body, something that it's not used to, and it causes all kinds of inflammatory responses. So I think you're totally right. No matter what the reason is, or even if just somebody is just totally not comfortable. I'd have never believed vaccines should be forced on anybody. I don't think any kind of medical treatment should ever be forced on anybody because there are a lot of people in the world who have PTSD specifically from medical trauma, things that were scary. And even if they were just totally normal things, we all know as human beings with two fucking eyes in our heads that pain is relative, and what one person could find absolutely a walk in the park, somebody else could find absolutely traumatic based on their own past experiences and things like that. And so, yeah, I just think that it's crossing a very significant line that should never be crossed. Anytime somebody should be forced into having something done to their body, I mean, that's just like, we've learned that lesson so many times in human history. Like, it's nobody's business. It's like same like with abortion, it's nobody's business. If a woman chooses and needs or wants or whatever an abortion, nobody should ever get in the way of that. It should be provided safely and efficiently with compassion, love, understanding, and care, and really no other questions asked, in my opinion. So I think if we're willing to say that about a lot of these other things, then the vaccine thing should absolutely be a part of that. Nothing should be forced on anybody. It could be encouraged, but not forced.
Well, I think the other funny part too is, I forget what her name is, but a news individual had posed the question of the vaccine passports. And she came out and said, well, we can't force anybody to take a vaccine, but what we can do is have establishments bar you from using services because you don't have it. And I'm like, well, that's another form of discrimination.
It is. It's more like a coercion. So they can't. What she's saying is they can't pin you down and make you take it, but they will make sure that you'll take it because of external pressure and of being denied everything else that you need in your life.
But you know what?
You can't go to the grocery store.
All the small business owners that I know, they will not implement that. They're not going to do that at all.
No, like that would be.
I know some people that are going to take private jets just to go around that. Probably that little thing.
Yeah.
Like, well,
it's ridiculous.
There's two reasons people would implement it. So one is because they crave control. and two is that they're afraid. So it's only going to be one of those two reasons that somebody would ever enforce that in their own business, and it's
And then they're
either
going to go
their
bankrupt
power
because
has.
no one's going to go there.
No, I think it's stupid. Like it's absolutely dumb.
Well,
I think
sorry,
if we
go ahead.
didn't do that for measles and smallpox and all these other.
Chickenpox.
I just hope it doesn't turn like the anti-abortion law in Poland. Actually, if you've seen what happened there, in Poland they decided, that it they changed the law to abortion, and so people took the streets by the thousands and thousands and thousands, just because it's the woman's right, as you just said, to have their own body. So in terms of vaccine or taking a trip and saying, well, you don't have the vaccine, you have to stay home. I think some people won't take Ashley said, I know a lot of business people. I guarantee you they will circumvent that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I think April, probably I was getting into prediction, but I think April is going to be one hell of a month. I think there's going to be, I mean, I would even go the extra mile and say I think there's going to be some riots in April. Like, I just feel like April is going to be that bad, but in the sense that like people are going to burn shit down. But I feel like there's going to be such an uproar of people being fed up with the misinformation from governments and seeing what's like more things are at play at this point. And so people are really starting to kind of open their eyes and be like, wait a minute. So I think April is going to be a pretty intense month, not even just in the States, Canada. And what's funny to me too is because we all know in Canada, we're pretty much like, okay, listen to the government. And if we disagree, we're like, I'm just going to go have some Tim Hortons coffee and think about it. But we never say anything. But I think this time, I think there is going to be a lot of noise made by Canadians.
Yeah, I believe that. And every time when I look through the year, ahead for things and trends and all of that happening in the world, when I get to June, something really fucked up is happening. I can't even see what it is. I feel it. Like it's almost like I can see, okay, we're, in February, okay, this is what March generally looks like in different areas. This is what, like April looks like, May, and I get to June and my stomach turns. Like I feel something is coming. I can't see it, which is also unusual. So if I can't see it, it means that either I'm going to be directly affected by it or I don't have the reference points to see what it is. It means it's not something that's at all in my awareness.
That's great. So now we're screwed for April and June.
So this is funny, LA. LA, this is funny
not
because
funny.
No.
If you look at the stock market, it's not funny at all. We're not even April yet.
You and me both, when we were doing our thing with Suman, were giving our 2 cents individually, and we all said April to June.
April, correct. Yeah.
So the fact that now Matt is also pinpointing June, this is going to be interesting.
I'm just staying inside, man. Forget it. That's it. I'll groundhog the whole thing. You know what? Never mind that Puxatani Phil groundhog. I'm staying in, man. 13 weeks, 12 weeks. I don't care.
If they say that by June that I cannot fly to the States without like a vaccine or something, I'm getting in my car and I'm driving. Like, I don't care.
Actually, here we have
2 days to get there. It takes me 2 days to get there.
Karen said that my friend's son is an international pilot and was informed he has to have the vaccine or he'll lose his job. He doesn't want the vaccine. I know some nurses actually that have the same thing. They have to go through the vaccine or they're being told, you know what, you have to have the vaccine. It's not up to you to decide, which I find, to some degree, yes, to some degree, no, because
it's totally a thing. When I was a nursing student, we did not have a choice. We had to have all of our vaccines, flu shots, and a tuberculin test before we could even get on the floor in a clinical placement.
But is there not something in the Canadian Charter when it comes to like medical, either it's vaccinations or something that says you actually are not allowed to tell employees that they must get this or they'll be fired? Aren't you protected by that?
In the health industry, that's probably
no.
Right?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. Like, because I mean, at a human rights level, like, not that I'm aware of. Otherwise, I don't think we'd have so many anti-vaxxers flying around. They would just, whatever. But You know, and I'm very pro-vaccine. Don't get me wrong. I'm totally like, there are certain things lavender oil can fix, and there are certain things you need chemicals for, and I'm good with both when they're used appropriately. I think it's amazing that our society has come so far. But what I don't like is how quickly this has been rolled out for something when they don't have any long-term studies. And then what makes that scary is the mRNA vaccines are they're just so new, like it's never been done before. And so I think vaccinating an entire world of people when it's never been done before, it's a little scary. You know, we don't know what's going to
Well, the
happen
question
in 10 years.
is this vaccine going to make it better or worse for the next pandemic in 6, 7
Yeah.
years from now? That's the real question, right? So you're like,
There's like
okay,
there
am I going to
there's
be
some
okay, or
there's
is going to make it worse?
theoretically there's some great things that mRNA can be used for. But what has happened is when people have reacted badly to this, it's been very bad. It hasn't been like, you know, the usual vaccine side effect of feeling a little wonky for a day or two. It's been like full on anaphylaxis, which is an immune response, right? It's an immunological response. My feeling on it, my psychic feeling, and I saw this before the second they announced mRNA vaccines, I'll tell you exactly what I had a vision of. And I had a vision that there would generally people would be okay, but there would be a pretty big, decent chunk of people that would have an immunological response to it in the short term, but also over a long period of time. And what I saw is it would create almost like an autoimmune disorder in people that were susceptible to that, and that it's not because there's a lack of, you know, care on part of the developers of the vaccine. I feel like they've done their due diligence and all of that. But what I feel like is it's an unknown possibility. So something that's not on anybody's radar. And I would put money on in the next couple of years, more people are going to have autoimmune issues. And this isn't me talking about pseudoscience at all. I'm not a scientist. This is purely a psychic vision that I had. It is not, yeah, I'm not saying it's true. I'm just saying when I tuned in, that's what I had seen.
Well, we're already starting to see that probably, you know, with people now. Also, the way they eat is what, you know, the food chain is going to change. In fact, if we look at that, some are testing now, chefs are testing around the world more recipes with pea protein and insects, you know.
Yeah.
I remember going to the museum and they sell those insects with chocolate, right? But now,
you know what's actually awesome is cricket protein.
Yeah, correct. So now, you know, those locusts that are happening in Africa, those huge locusts, you know, destroying everything. They figured, you know what? Let's just catch it and turn it into animal feed. But I'm thinking, okay, what's next? They're gonna catch more when it's, you know, for animal than they're gonna do it for us. If some chefs are already starting to think about, you know, the fact that we're overpopulating this world, how are we gonna, you know,
I think it's not even overpopulating. I think they're literally trying to find a cleaner version of proteins or food, because a lot of our protein, a big bulk of it's all genetically modified or filled with hormones and all sorts of shit. Well, especially in the States. Like their regulations are different than ours up here in Canada. But
if you look at cows, they're some of the most expensive animals to, like steak is one of the most expensive thing to make, right? You have the cow, you have to, you know, the whole thing, plus the way they're treated. Here, they're treated better than in some other countries. You know, I've seen photographs of, you know, where they put cows in the U.S. It's like, wow, okay. There's no grass, it's just like, you know, ground, nothing.
Yeah, but really, if you look at how much, I guess, environmental bullshit that animal products takes, if you look at plant-based, they're even worse. Yeah. So I don't even really think it matters whether.
What's that meat thing called? The meat plant thing.
Meat plant? Like tofu?
No, not
soy.
No, the new thing. What's it called? They have it in restaurants now, like A&W or.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Is it called Not Meat Burger or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, with like
just a chemical shitstorm. That's what that is. It's filled with chemicals and bullshit.
Okay, why don't you just eat the plant and let the burger alone? If I want a burger, I want a burger. Don't, like, you know, it's enough. Sometimes I remember eating a tofu burger one time. that didn't turn out well.
They're not Beyond Meat there, Wanda said it. Beyond Meat. They're not healthy.
Right, yeah.
Stop eating them. Like people eat these things every
Hell
day.
no.
They're fucking horrible for you.
Also,
not me.
Wait, we need to acknowledge something. I fucking love Wanda a lot.
Who?
A lot. Wanda.
Thank you, Wanda.
She's
Impossible
awesome.
Burger. Nice. I like that one. Beyond Meat. That's correct. All right. So thanks. So now, yeah, actually, who here would start eating, cricket protein?
I already do.
Okay.
I had on my YouTube channel, I had a company reach out to me that makes protein bars out of crickets. So they sent me all their flavors to try.
Didn't you tell me that last year? Wasn't that last year you started that?
Could have been. Can't remember.
You mentioned that, and I thought
they were fucking delicious. Like they were really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like it's one of those things that if I didn't know I was eating it,
do you lose weight getting them, or can you use it for bodybuilding?
No, it's just a different source of protein. It has all your amino acids in it, and it's a clean version of, I guess, their protein and whatever. It was a good experiment. I ate all of them, and they were really good. Like I'm not even gonna lie.
Are you still eating now?
Like shit, I tell you. What?
It tastes horrible?
No, they're amazing. They taste really good.
Oh. So are you still eating them or not?
No, because it was just like a temporary thing. They're from the States.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. So they have like
people
different
send me
flavors
stuff all
or
the time.
Something? Like strawberry crickets or chocolate?
No, there's like peanut butter chocolate and
everything is peanut butter something chocolate.
Because peanut butter is amazing. That's why.
It's interesting. Wow, that's cool. So Matt, would you eat crickets?
Yeah, it's hard to say. Like I wouldn't not. But would I be like if I was at the grocery store and like looking on the shelves and it was like, oh, do you want crickets that are ground up into a powder and then stuck in a bar? I wouldn't be like, wow, where has this been all my life? That said, if I was like really hungry, or if all of a sudden there's all this amazing information that came out on how phenomenal crickets are for your health, then I would consider it. I mean, I'm not averse to trying.
What if it boosted your psychic abilities, man? I just thought of it.
I fucking wouldn't. I would stay the fuck away from those bars. Like, no, I'm good.
Really?
I'm good. I do not need to see more.
I don't need to see people on the other side. I actually feel like I'm actually there.
Yeah, like no. Hard pass.
Oh, let's see here. Who would? Okay. So some people say yes with chocolate. Denise here said, chocolate. That's pretty
I'm telling you right now, if I took the wrapper
with chocolate.
If I took the wrapper off of the bars and I put it on a plate and I said, try this, you would love it. And then I would say it's made with crickets, and then you wouldn't even know what to think.
You know what?
Remind me of my friend was a chef. He was a chef for like 4 prime ministers or something like that here in Ottawa. And he said, I'm going to give you blood pudding or whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
But he didn't call it like that. He says, I'm going to make something. It was so good. And then he said, I'm not telling you what it is because you won't eat it. But then when he told me, I'm like, yeah, you're right. I would have never eaten that. But it was so good the way he arranged it. I'm like, but I never had it again. Because if it's not made by him, I was like, I'm not going to screw that up. But everybody would use it with chocolate. That's pretty good. Grasshoppers, cricket. We have blah here. I guess not. That's a no. I guess most people, if they didn't know what it was made of, they would just take it, right?
Exactly.
You know, like the other thing though is like
try it with children. I should get it.
Generally, my rule is if it comes out of a box, it's not going in my mouth unless it's a cigarette. So, like, generally speaking, so
isn't it kind of weird? Like, you'd rather just smoke a cigarette than eat like something out of a box. Isn't that kind of like?
That is an example of addiction at its finest, for sure. Water in life or cigarettes in death? What would you like, Matthew? Well, let me think about it. Like,
Matthew's a pioneer.
Yeah, no, but it's true though. I mean, it's a valid point. I would say it's a fantastic example of addiction and how powerful it is. But yeah, no, I don't know. I just like things to be like simple food. You know what I mean? At least for me. I know it's boring, but yeah.
All right. So if I'm gonna give you, let's say COVID is over, and the food supply is messed up. You know, How
Mhm.
many people would be anxious knowing that in 3 months from now, they would tell us, the dog's already anxious. They would say, you know what? We're turning to pea protein. We're turning to crickets, grasshoppers. We're going to chocolate cover it, all of it. Who would actually start feeling anxious?
But wait, we have to clarify this. Would you be anxious about having to eat those things every day, or would you be anxious that so much has changed that you can't choose for yourself? Because I feel like there's two things that could cause
It's going to be
anxiety
both.
in that
First,
situation.
we had Zombieland for over a year now. And the next thing is, what
Yeah,
if it hits the food chain and the only thing we
right.
can eat are, I'm not going to say cockroaches because then I'll get a definite no because people are, no. The grass, I think it'll go as far as grasshopper, pea protein.
I missed the question because
And
my dogs are barking.
I said, if in 3 months we were told that we have to start eating pea protein, grasshoppers with chocolate, M&Ms with what's the other thing? Crickets. Who would actually feel anxious knowing that the steaks are gone, the potatoes are not there anymore, the rice? Okay, you can have a side order rice, make it clean. Who would be anxious?
I mean, I love steak, so I would be. I would miss my steak.
Okay,
But yeah, but I think there's a difference. Like, I wouldn't be anxious about having to eat pea protein and cricket bars. I would be more anxious, like, okay, our freedom is really dwindling now. We don't have a lot of choices as people. I think that would make me more anxious than having to
what
eat.
freedom, man? We in the house all day long, can't go out. What's
I'm
the
used
next
to it.
thing?
I've
Take
worked from
away our
home
food.
forever. It's like not different for me. But oh, we have a scanner.
Do we?
Hello.
Oh, there we
Yeah,
go. That took a while.
yeah, yeah. They do have it. We have a
So Chris
scammer.
says me, I'd find
I'll
other things to eat.
I'll
Oh,
get
there
on
it
it.
is.
I'll get on it. I like blocking them because they're always
Just
harassing
Driving,
people
yes.
on my
Anxious
page.
about the
So
changes. So actually, speaking of anxiety, how many people are starting to feel socially anxious? I know when I go out now, I make sure that I'm about 2 meters away from people, or and keep my distances and try to see, if I see somebody coughing inside their mask, I tend to go a little bit further away. Are people actually living or going through some social anxiety as they start thinking back, I'm going to have
Nope.
to head back?
Not me.
All right.
I give shit. I get my mask on. I do my thing. If you're beside me, you're beside me. Let's be friends.
Let's be friends on top of that.
Yeah,
Okay.
I whatever.
That's
Like,
a bit
I'm
too
still
close.
going to go out. I'm going to do my thing. I'll wear my mask. I'll wash my hands. But like, I'm not going to fucking stand right beside you. Like, I'm going to make the space out of respect, but I'm not like jumping back if someone's too close. I'll look at them and be like, yo, and then mind my business. Like, I'll just keep going. Like, let's just put it this way. I left the RCMP because of bullshit, and I hate government, and I don't like regulations that much. That's my own thing.
I think we
And-
figured that out, me and Matt, without being psychic at all.
Yeah.
How about you, Matt?
So I don't know. I don't want to change my everyday life just because of this bullshit, because it's starting to really affect people. I refuse to let it affect me. Now, do I obviously keep my space and wear my mask? Yes. But I'm also not going to be afraid to go in public and do stuff.
Mhm.
What if you
I'm
go
a-
to the US and you don't have to wear a mask? And most people aren't wearing masks. You got to feel anxious about that?
No, I was already in the States.
That's true.
I was fine.
Did you wear
I
a mask?
actually felt more comfortable in Orlando than I do here.
Why?
I don't know. It's just like you can feel the energy and animosity here. Like you can feel everyone's just very stressed and like stiff. In the States, everything is still running at a certain point. Like it's not a free for all, but everything is still
Not
running.
anymore, no.
People, even there, it was very well controlled. But people are still doing their thing. They're not that stressed out, and it's like the feeling of it is it's calming because everyone's still living their life, but they're also not being huge dicks. Like in Orlando, people were really good. Now, St. Petersburg or Tampa, that might be a different story. But that's like anywhere you go. Like I was in Toronto not long ago, and the media portrays Toronto to be this giant shit show. Well, it's not. I actually felt more comfortable in Toronto than I did in Ottawa. Like the energies are just they're so different in both
No
cities.
offense, but anybody will feel better in Toronto instead of Ottawa. No
Yeah.
offense.
So I don't know. I don't want to use the word conform, but like I refuse to feel anxious or stressed out when out based on some bullshit.
I think from what I'm reading here, most people aren't that anxious. They're more anxious about the virus itself and catching it. We hear here, Chrissy Lynn, she got, her daughter has been diagnosed with COVID, so she has to clean the house and disinfect it a lot, and she's living on the same roof. So that might be, that's reason to be anxious to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
And most people, you know, they're saying they're tired of being alone. So they want to meet other people, except from what I can read is, they're being careful because some other people, like Chris said, somebody ended up in the hospital. And so I guess in terms of anxiety, it's still going to be the same to some degree of being aware or having situational awareness. I mean, I'm not going to go to a COVID party myself, but if I go to the store, I'll probably, you know, wear a mask, be distanced to some degree, and then proceed from there, right? To be cautious and aware. How about you, Matt?
Yeah, like I mean, I'm not personally freaked out by it. I think that I would be very cautious. I'm not going to put myself in a situation like I'm not going to go lick lab swabs at fucking public health. But like, you know, I'm also, you know,
That
not
would be more
super,
related to psychiatry if you do that.
yeah, no kidding. No, but I don't know.
Matthew's taking a pause.
Oh,
You struck a pose there. I don't know if
I
you
cut out.
Yeah.
Vogue or something.
Yeah,
You're frozen.
no.
You look very reflective.
Elsa got me. No, I would say I'm not afraid of it. I will just do my very best to take every precaution possible. But I think all we can do is do the best that we can do. I think that's it. And if we still get it at the end of the day, well, you know, it sucks and it's shitty and it's scary. But I think all we can do with anything in our lives is do the best that we can. Outside of that, there's a whole lot of things that are not in our control as human beings, even though we would generally not like it to be that way. So all we can do in any situation, whether it's COVID or something else, is just to show up and do the best that we can with what we have, and that's it. And let go of things beyond that.
Elaine brought something here. She said, I get stressed going out to the stores because the energy is all over the place.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
There's COVID, the economy, you know, if you look at the stocks, if you look at some of you, we've talked about Bitcoin and blockchain, that's tanking right now, which is understandable because they're called corrections. And usually around this time it does that. So yeah, the energy is, you know, all over the place. So how are some people coping? What are some of the measures that you're using at home to keep coping after this? It's going to be a year. It's over a year now almost since we started this show. You know,
this
I feel like I live in an igloo. What?
This stuff is going to keep climbing until September.
Oh, I'm sure. But I don't know. I kept seeing this year it would fall off. I don't even know.
I think the numbers are starting to go across the world, actually, even though they don't know how. I'll say why.
Yeah.
Everybody's staying inside. Duh. I mean, vaccines will help, but if you just don't go anywhere, that thing's going to die, right? It needs somebody to infect.
Last summer, I said that come January, that it's going to start to go away on its own, and they're not going to know why. But I said it's going to kill itself off. And then in the past few days, there have been articles coming out saying that researchers have no idea why there's been a substantial drop in COVID, and they have no answers for it. I'm out here being like...
Yeah, I remember we mentioned that last year. And remember we mentioned also February is going to be better. So this is true.
And people thought that we were fucking nuts when we said that. And I'm like, well, then wait and see. And here it is.
Correct.
I was right.
Okay. Die the precious. You know? So, but in any case, I still think the vaccines are going to help across the world. But like we said before, it's mostly what they're going to realize is it's going to die off. Who cares how, really, as long as it goes away. You know,
Yep.
And
it's interesting to know so that we make sure that it keeps going. But I think we all want it to just go away. I think we learned the lesson, which is everybody has impact. So if that can be negatively seen as that way in terms of one person can change the world, one person can change the world in another matter in terms of creating something more powerful. Numbers are increasing in Nova Scotia. That's true. I think they had a couple of cases and they shut, I think the Newfoundland also, and they shut the island down, I think, or some city.
Yeah.
Because they had no cases and all of a sudden, they let people party or whatever. So, of course, that's going to happen. So I know some people are afraid of the new variants. But again, the idea is to wear masks, social distance, and be aware of, of the fact that your actions can also influence others. So,
yeah.
Yep. Just be smart about your decisions. Like, that's all it really is. And then if you are, say, traveling or whatever, again, just be smart about it. Take your, caution to the wind type of thing. Ooh, the one thing I did want to bring up today was the 3-day quarantine if you're coming back from international travel.
Totally optional. Stoptional. It's stoptional.
Oh my God. Like
what is
what
that?
is the
Sorry?
point of sticking someone in a
man.
hotel for 3 days when they fly in with a negative COVID test, have to take a rapid test when they get to the airport? You stick them in a hotel for 3 days, then they have to go home for an additional 14 days. So now it's just been extended to 17 days, which the WHO doesn't even recommend. What is the point when they can go home? Like for me, I live alone, so I would be quarantining by myself. What's the point of putting me in a hotel for 3 days and then telling me to go home for 14?
But did you hear about all the people that are just walking into the airport and going home?
Yeah, they're like, fuck this. Yeah. I was like, that's amazing.
The police aren't enforcing it at all. They're like, well, oh well. But public health can retroactively fine them up to $750,000 and 6 months in jail. So
yeah, but that's not going to fly in court.
No, probably not.
I don't think that any of those fines are going to get put through in court at all. Especially if, just say you even get to court. I think they'll be all thrown out beforehand. But even if you were to get there and you literally tell the judge, listen, here's my negative test when I came in like required. I live alone, or I was with the same person in the home when I traveled. And we both quarantined for our 14 days as per the WHO and Canadian government's is 14 days. They're not really breaking any laws. They're not affecting people in a negative way. They're not trying to create, crime or any of that stuff. They're good people. And they go home and they stay home like I did when I came back from Florida in October. I stayed home.
Not everybody is like you, right? Some people, they don't.
So then answer me this. You spend 3 days in a hotel for $2,000, which is bullshit. And then you're told to go home for 14 days. What's saying that they're not going to leave in 14 days from their house?
Oh, I'm sure they
will.
will.
3 days have to do with anything?
Is it only 3 days in the hotel?
Only 3 days.
14 days.
No, it's
2,000 for 3 days.
Yes.
What kind of hotel is that? I want to own it.
There was a Sheraton by the airport in Montreal.
Jesus, 2,000 for two. Wow. Okay.
Yep. It doesn't make any sense.
That's highly profitable, actually. That's the way I'm looking at it. Never mind.
But
wow. That's
I think that there's no point in doing. So here's where I get annoyed. So you're like, you must do this, but we will not make you. So like that's one thing that I find
exactly
dumb,
is don't do that. Like a parent, don't do that. They do it and like
whatever. You're still cute, honey. It's okay. We'll do a timeout later when you want to.
work, Matt. I'll tell you.
No, that's why I'm not a parent. So
But even the people that traveled before this was implemented, they were already out of the country before any of this was even implemented. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they come back and they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, what's happened?
Just let them go home. Like, let them just stay. Because when they're at home, they're being called and they are having knocks on the door now.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're going to try and deter anybody, that's enough of a deterrent right there that if you leave your house, they show up, you're not there, you're in shit.
Yeah.
The hotel's nothing. And then there was a sexual assault that took place in one of the hotels.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the news. There's sexual assaults happening. It's like, what do you think is going to happen when you put different humans in a hotel in lockdown? Like, what do you think is going to happen? They're going to go fucking nuts.
Isn't that like a resort?
Yeah,
that I think
fucking
about it.
prison.
So Matt,
Yeah.
and Ashley, it is reading time. So Ashley,
Yay.
give your
Alrighty, look at
spiel.
that.
I'll let you read your
My
spiel.
cue. Sorry, I was paying attention to my dog. I thought he was going to bark again. So, if anyone has questions they would like some insight into, please write in the comment section. Do not, and I repeat, do not write anything for me or do you see anything for me? Any of that. Be specific in your question so that the gens can dive in.
Yeah, as specific as possible, because the more specific you are, the more people we can actually get to. If you say something like, "Okay, when will I get a new job?" That's specific. Or should I invest all my money in crypto bits or whatever it's called?
That would be probably a good time, but it's
So there's
Bitcoin again. Bitcoin, cryptocurrency,
whatever crypto
blockchain.
bits, crypto bits to me. So the more specific you are, the faster we can answer your question, the more people we can get to. All right. So specific.
I just like to hear Ashley spiel. It's so funny.
It is funny. It's like I watch for a vein that just comes out on her head a little bit. Like,
You have a vein.
you do. Everybody does. And when you get angry, it shows up right here. All right.
Oh my god.
All right. Let's see.
She gets all tense when she's angry. She's like, I'm gonna.
Yeah, no, fuck with everybody. You should give it like 30 seconds so you can start to see the questions pop in. Or just tackle them. Whatever.
Let me read some here. This thing's skipping, man. By the time I read it, I'm done. There's nothing specific in any of these.
Let's see. So asking for a message or insight and then an entire wide range of life
I know.
is not really
Denise
specific question.
would love a message on my career path. I think things will start changing for you in about 3 months is what I picked up. So maybe that can help for now until somebody gives me something a bit more precise.
I will go with Lindy Bax. There's a good example of a specific question. Should I stick to the same career path I was on before the pandemic? I want to eventually go back to work. I do see that you are going to stick to the same career path, but I also see a change coming in the structure of what you do around September. I can't even go as far as October. I've got to go after August and before the end of September. So in September, I see a structural change of some kind. So by that time, you'll be back at work. But I also see that the way that you do your work might change, or where you do it might change, but still the same field generally. I see job transition in October for you. So that's going to be, the opportunity will come in September, but the transition itself will be in October, and it looks really good. Like I see a smile on your face. You'll be quite happy about it.
So me, I would say no, but in terms of there will be a change for you. So I don't know where the question, Ashley, can you write the questions when we're doing, or Matt? Can you write the questions at the bottom so I can see them? Because I didn't know who you were.
Like,
just got no because there's
I can't do it. He's got all the buttons.
For you.
I've got the buttons. I will.
He's got the buttons. I don't have the buttons.
Oh, Lindsay. Yeah, I see a change for you. So it would be probably in the no. I'm not sure what the beginning question was. But in the future, I do see a change. So that's going to be positive for you.
Here was the question.
No. Stick to the same career. I get a no in terms of you'll get something different. So there's in the next coming months, a couple of months from now, probably third quarter, there will be change for you, more opportunities, and I think it'll be good for you. So I hope that answers your question. I'll let you choose, Ash. Here we go.
I'm drawn to one if you can't pick one.
There you go. Do it.
All right.
Okay.
Laurie Martinez is wondering if my sister Valerie will be happy. I feel that she will be. What I see, Laurie, when I'm tuning into these questions, I feel like Valerie is first of all, a very dynamic individual. I feel like she's incredibly sensitive. And the reason I say that is I see red in her aura, and red to me is anxiety. It's a color of ungroundedness, and I see it all around her, but it's not coming from her. So to me, this is saying this is influenced by either outside forces, outside people, the world around her, something like that. I feel that when she can balance that out, when she can learn to ground and not personalize things that really aren't personal, and that's not a judgment of her. I think many people do that as well, where we personalize things that really we can't, like we'll feel bad for things we can't prevent and stuff like that. When she can get a handle on all of that, I get a big yes. I do feel that later this year she's going to have a major blessing around her love life and romance, and even like her housing and home situation and stuff like that. It looks really, really good. So the answer is yes, but I think overall throughout her life, I think she's really got to kind of learn to be within her own energy a little bit more. And it's hard for people who are good at helping others, who are sensitive. But I feel like, yeah, that would be my answer. And thank you for the feedback. I just saw it.
So,
Awesome
Laurie, what I get is give her time. I'm seeing maybe 2 years, but give her time in any case, without me just giving you 2 years. And the final thing is she will adapt. So over time, she'll be able to get through whatever Matthew was speaking or whatever you're talking about in terms of the happiness, but she will be able to adapt over time. So I would just give her time to do so.
Yeah, I think it's going to go okay. All right, where are we going next? Oh, here. Do you see them resolving my knee and hip issue?
Just
Yes,
looking at that.
I do. I feel like you will get it resolved, Elaine. Unfortunately, I see it taking a bit of time. So to me, that means that I feel like it will be completely wrapped up and resolved by the fall of 2022. I feel like you'll feel way better before that. I feel like one of these things will be taken care of, well before the end of this year. But it looks like it's done in two pieces. But I see that you're going to feel, it's not going to take till the fall of next year to feel better. So that's a good thing. I see, I see things being better, your experience of things being way better. But when it's truly, fully, completely fixed, I feel like it's the fall of 2022. But you will feel better way before that.
So I get that you will feel a bit better. It's going to take time indeed, but you might have a little bit of difficulty compared to before. So again, you'll still have to be careful and also very aware of your environment and take your time to some degree. But there's going to be a little bit. I'm sensing from what I'm looking at in terms of the knee to just be careful over time. And I see you a lot in terms of massaging or having somebody massage that over time to make it better. But again, you'll have to be careful in terms of the amount of time that you actually walk or do physical exercise for quite some time. But overall, it'll be more positive than it is right now. So that's good hope.
All right.
I like
Okay,
this comment. Oh, okay, go.
Which one?
I'm not giving like an intuitive suggestion, but Christy M. Nixon says, my 21-year-old son is working in landscaping. And you put it up on the screen. Perfect. Looking at
That's what I was drawn
landscaping.
to too.
Thanks.
He's struggling to decide if he should move to something else. I'm wondering how long it'll take him to find a career he likes. Should I give him advice to help him? Here's my advice to someone who's 21 years old, who's still pretty much a kid, still probably trying to figure out who he is as a person, is let him go through motions and let him try different things. And if he's already doing landscaping and is just genuinely not interested anymore, let him find his way. Let him try new things. This whole notion of you finish high school or college and you need to be in a career right away is very archaic. So if he's having an issue with landscaping and he thinks he might want to move on, keep doing it until you kind of figure out the rhythm and then kind of take off and try. Don't be afraid to try something new.
And what I was seeing, Christy, is actually the advice was going to be the same, but my reason why was a little bit different. I feel like your son, first of all, is a wonderful human being. And the reason I say that is when I tune into his energy, he has this vibrant, loving, bright energy. And it was bright yellow, and there was like lots of teal in there. And teal to me is being somebody who's a healer, but also slightly introverted. Um, I feel like he's such a good person. And I think that he's going to be a bit of a person who changes his career path several times in his life. I don't see one thing that he'll do forever. I'm getting an image of my partner's brother, and he is super skilled. He's very, very amazing human being, but he just he changes things up when he feels like it, and he's super successful. But he doesn't ever do the same thing for necessarily a super long time, and that's kind of what I see when I'm looking at your son's energy, Christy. So I think, will he be happy? Yes. I think, like Ashley said, breaking down the idea of you need to pick one thing and that's your thing forever. I agree with her. I think it's very important that he doesn't necessarily hold on to that need. I feel like it's very, very important that he just realized he can make his career path whatever he wants. If he wants to change his job every month, he totally can. There's nothing wrong with that. And I feel like as soon as he can embrace the fact that he may be a little bit of a traveler when it comes to work, he will actually be a lot happier. So I think there's a breaking down of archaic constructs, like Ashley said. I think that she was very right about that.
To answer or just to expand on what you both said, I would say no for the landscaping, if that's a question of staying there for a long time. I don't see that. I also get that in 4 or 5 years from now, around the age of 25, 26, is when it'll be a bit clearer for her, sorry, for him in terms of career path, and actually in terms of actually enjoying what he does and being remunerated for it properly.
Mm-hmm.
The force is strong. So let him choose. Again, if he goes through a couple of things before, there's no problem with that. I mean, now people are trying to always be so specialty instead of being more in terms of generalist. But more and more companies now are hiring people that have a more generalistic view, because they can actually work with different things and different teams and work with people that are specialized.
Mm-hmm.
So in that sense, I would say 4 or 5 years, 25, 26, in terms of him, 21, you're still young at that time. I mean, not because I'm 50 that I'm saying that, but in terms of being able to decide, there's a lot of things, and there's so many new technologies, so many new innovations coming through.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of opportunities, so much for people now to create new careers that are even, on LinkedIn, I was looking, and I just finished taking this course on blockchain. The number one thing that people are looking at on LinkedIn right now is blockchain technology. Imagine that. And I think 6th or 7th was cryptography. Who would have known that? So there's so many opportunities now for people that, if he doesn't like it, which I don't think he'll stay in landscaping for a while. And it's good to have those skills, because they can be translated to something else also. Your own home or other people's, or doing other things. But in that sensing, just allow him to experience what he wants to experience, and then go for it.
Beautiful. So
any last one? We have 3 minutes. Any last one? Not last rights, last one.
I think I'm tapping out.
Oh, that's
I'm
okay.
like,
I think we should expand on that, because I just thought of that. It's good. A lot of people are asking in terms of career now, because COVID has changed a lot of things. And what it's done, it's like acted as a disruptor, as we could see. But there's so many opportunities for people now, especially, that we've seen online, what's online looking at, not that, they should have tested online school stuff before that. There's Web 3.0 coming. We've spoken of blockchain, which I'm starting to, Ashley was telling me about this a couple of months ago. I'm like, nah, it's going to tank. And yeah, it does tank and go up and down. But I think people need to start learning, as I said, I just mentioned on LinkedIn being the number one thing employers are going to be looking at, or already starting to look at, is blockchain technology. So in order to put that into perspective, and what do you call it? What, Matt?
Bitcoin,
CryptoBit, whatever. Okay, so in order to understand blockchains, it's just new technology. So just imagine blockchain as, when you started learning about internet. You know, now we see the internet, but we associate Facebook and Google as the internet, but they're not. They're platforms. So blockchain is about the same thing. It's just a ledger. It's like if you go to the library and everything you do from that point on, getting that book and where the book came from, which tree it came from, which lot it came from, goes all the way back to the present, to where the book is going. That's what you need to learn. So you'll be looking at new things in terms of how food supply is being tracked, how you know, they're already tracking everything with Facebook in terms of analytics, but now in terms of the food chain, your clothing, there's companies now like Provenance that are, you know, tracking where does your clothes come from? Okay, where's the material coming from? Is it from third world countries in which, you know, they have child labor? If so, then it shows right there, you can't change it. It'll be encrypted and there's no way for you to change it. So it just keeps going and then you can find it. I know I have a client that does clothing that's, you know, natural, and that's just one of the things. There's so many other things to look at. And so I'm telling you, in 3-4 years, from what I can see intuitively, a lot of things and technology such as IBM are using it. You know, Canada is talking about digital wants to be one of the first countries with a digital currency, which you're starting to hear. There's actually ETFs now with that ETF, you know, in terms of investing in those cryptocurrency, into Bitcoins and stuff like that. But Bitcoin is just a currency that is used. You want to look at it in terms of blockchain if you read anything. So in that sensing, just start reading about it just so that you're more aware of what's coming up. All right?
Awesome.
So thanks, guys. We'll see you again next week.
We
hopefully
will.
We have, you know, the world doesn't all spin around like it did like a couple of weeks ago or last month.
And I have no leaks in my ceiling.
Matt, you want to say anything?
Let me think. Next up, let's talk to Jenny about Pepto-Bismol flavored gummy bears.